Eric, Dad always said a man's got to have his toys. Growing up, heard that all the time. Now, what he never really went into detail with what the spectrum of toys were or is. It's just, it could be anything from a remote control for the TV or an actual TV or, anything in between that makes a man happy.
Yep.
And what's something that a man uses every day? A toilet.
Yeah.
So getting some new toilets put into the home, and never thought I'd have this happen, but when you're doing your number one business every day into this toilet, you have a certain picture in your head from doing your business for 8 years in this
year after year.
Day after day.
Yep.
So when they get replaced, you just don't think that when you look down to do your business, pop, there's going to be a whole different picture there. And it was just happened to me yesterday, broke my brain, looked down, boom, new toilet. And we had a circle toilet. Now we have an oval toilet.
All right.
And the toilet was even like going through my legs. So I'm like thinking, this is amazing. It's going to be a lot cleaner and easier to clean moving forward. But this new picture is going to take some getting used to. But man, it feels good. And to say that about a toilet, that's when you've become that man, that dad who just gets excited about the small things.
It's the little things. Yeah. And it's the little pleasures in life. When you look at those and you think, oh man, I can't wait to get a toilet that flushes every time, no matter what. no matter what I feed it, it always flushes.
It's got the pictures on at Home Depot. It says it can flush like 9 billiards balls at once, or a bucket of golf balls. I'm like, I need to maybe put this to the test. But
I don't know if I've ever created a bucket of golf balls on my own, but it's good to know. It's good to know.
Maybe I'd go over the golf course in the middle of the night, get a bucket of balls just to flush it down the toilet. But a man's got to have his toys. Thanks, Dad, for that. Have his toys. So let's play that song. Welcome to the party, nerds. It's the Nerd Rundown podcast, where we cover the latest in the nerd world of movies, TV, and more. I'm your host, Aaron Stimple. With me is my co-pilot, Eric Hare. We love everyone watching and listening in. You can find us on social media and YouTube at the Nerd Rundown. You can listen to our podcast on all the major podcast services. What's up, Eric? How you doing, bud?
I'm good, my man. I'm good. Had a good weekend. Had a fun week back at work and stuff. Busy, and getting back into it. Yep. Nice.
I got new toilets this weekend, so I'm a happy man.
Yeah, it's coming up roses for you all over.
Yeah, I like it. About time. Well, we have a fantastic show for you all today. Cover the latest on the rundown. We'll play another game this week. Excited about that. Put our movie quote knowledge to the test today, and then we've got some really great nerd questions to answer. So before we do that, to the rundown. And with that, I better get to the rundown, because first on the rundown we have a giant trailer released this week. One of the biggest nerd franchises out there, Dune released their full movie trailer this week, and me being a Dune virgin, no exposure to Dune whatsoever. I got chills watching this. I could tell that this is going to be a big movie, and it's going to launch a whole new fandom in the nerd world. So very excited about this. The score from Hans Zimmer was just, chef's kiss. What did you think about the whole thing, though?
Yeah, he's always money, man. He really is. He's so good. The trailer looked amazing. It really did. We got a little bit of a shorter trailer early on that showed some stuff here and there, but we really got a chance to see some of the characters in this one that really are going to be spectacular. The cast looks bonkers. I mean, it just looks amazing. It looks great from top to bottom. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. Special effects looked amazing. The sandworm at the end looked super cool. Incredible. Combat looks like there's pretty cool combat scenes. Some big armies fighting each other, and this feels very epic. Like, I feel like this is going to be an epic movie, and it's going to be a gigantic scale. And like you said, it's a nerd franchise. Like, they're definitely setting up a nerd franchise. And, even though I'm, obviously, and I say obviously because we all know. Well, hold on. I don't think we have to drink on this one. I'm obviously older than you, so because you can see by the amount of gray hair that I have and the wrinkles, here and there, that I am obviously older than you, and so I'm actually a Dune virgin as well. I have not seen the original Dune. We kind of talked about it earlier. I watched the trailer and I thought to myself, man, I really need to read this book before the movie comes out, because I really want to know, I want to know all the details of what's going on in this. And you were really funny about it, because you were like, well, at least one of us is going to.
It's like, one of us needs to read the book, and it ain't going to be me. So
yeah, right.
Have fun with that.
So, yeah. So, but
with the cast here, let's talk about the cast real quick. Yeah. At the top, Timothée Chalamet, up and coming actor. Yep. We talked about him recently. Because he got cast as the new Wonka. You have Zendaya from the Spider-Man movies playing MJ. Yep. Per one of my big crushes in the world, Rebecca Ferguson from the Mission Impossible, the recent Mission Impossible movies. Yep. Jason Momoa looked great in the movie. He had a really funny line there with Timothée Chalamet's character about did you put on some muscle? No. Right, yeah. Did I? No. So he's playing like what looks to be the big, maybe badass soldier of the army.
Well, his character name is like, gosh, if it's not a badass dude, I don't know what is. But
Duncan Idaho.
Duncan Idaho. It's like, man, that's like,
that is you got to be able to knock some MFers around with that name,
You're cracking some skulls together with that name.
Speaking of cracking some skulls, Dave Bautista, I think, is on the other side of that coin. And maybe the badass of the other side of the army. Looking forward to seeing them guys knock some skulls against each other. You have Stellan Skarsgård, who I don't think I saw him in the trailer. I don't remember seeing him.
He is very, very briefly. He is the big bad. And he actually is very heavy I think he's done up in some heavier makeup stuff.
Oh, okay.
So he plays kind of this bigger guy, but he's very brief in this trailer. In the first trailer, I think you got to see him a little bit more. Got to see just some more teases of him, but in this trailer, he's very, very brief. But yeah, he plays the Baron, and so.
Okay. I mean,
he was so great in. He's really been great in just about everything he's always done. But he was so great in Chernobyl.
Chernobyl was so good. Yep. Oscar Isaac looks like he's playing kind of the leader of the good guys.
Right.
He's the dad of Timothée Chalamet.
Yep. Yep.
Who else did I see in there? We saw.
Oh, come on, dude.
David Dasmalkian
Yep.
is in there.
Yep. But Brolin.
I was gonna say the MVP, I think, of the trailer for me was Josh Brolin.
Easily.
Make sure you're smiling, Gurney. And he's like, I am smiling. That great Josh Brolin, straight face, and that line he says about everything with guns up off the ground, like just intense. So like you can feel the intensity from him. Javier Bardem is in this movie. My goodness. This is a stacked cast, as it should be, with what it's supposed to be. This it's supposed to be one of the greatest sci-fi stories ever told, and it's part 1 too. So that they're hoping that this is as big as they think it's gonna be, and it's gonna launch another part 2. I don't know if they've filmed it back to back. Do you know?
Yeah, I think that I don't know. I don't know. I thought that I read that they did, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not 100% confident on that.
Yeah,
it would be silly if they didn't. I just think nowadays you just have to. Just take the time and just film it, and then do it, edit it later, together later on. I thought. Putting Denis Villeneuve in command of this one, his resume is banger after banger. Prisoners was great. Sicario was amazing. The Arrival with Hawkeye coming up. We'll be talking about Hawkeye a little bit. With him in it, it's just. Everything. And I did not see the Blade Runner movie that he did.
Me either, but I really want to.
But I don't think anybody who saw it didn't say it was just gorgeous. It just looked amazing. And he's got such a great style to his movies, such a great look to his movies. And I think it's going to match up nicely with this particular story. So, and he's definitely got the cast. So,
holy cow.
It's the plot is there. The director is the right guy for this, and it looks like the cast is the right cast for it. So, gosh, if this thing doesn't fly, I'm going to be shocked because it looks amazing. So,
yep, I totally agreed. Looking forward to it. It's released on October 22nd of this year. So, we'll be covering more of this, I'm sure, moving forward. So, stay tuned.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll put it in I got to get it in the Kindle and start reading that. So
get on that homework. Next on the rundown, very exciting drop this weekend out of nowhere. Really, you alerted me to it, I think Friday, and it almost brought tears to my eyes. The movies that made us season 2 released not only a trailer, they released their whole second season onto Netflix. And
I love that you're a convert. I love that you're a convert because, like, for the longest time you resisted me. I'm like, dude, I know. I
don't know. I really hate myself for waiting for so long, but I also am glad that I was able to watch that, and now very quickly I'm into. So it worked out for me.
Yep, it did work out for you. So
but right off. So I watched the trailer, and right off the bat, I could feel the emotions coming back because I had Jurassic Park, and I'm like, already season 2. Win for me.
Right.
And then I see Forrest Gump, and I'm like, oh, my heart starts beating faster. And then you see the tire fire streaks, and I knew exactly where they were going, and it's Back to the Future. So if I put together my top 3, Empire Strikes Back, which is not a perfect movie in my mind, is definitely some faults with it, but watching it just is a totally different experience for me than any other movie. Was there like a
spelling error in there? Because I've never seen any fault in that movie, and the many times that I've seen it, was there like it was just maybe something was mistyped, or maybe they didn't use the proper grammar in the credits, or
maybe like some incest in there that maybe could have been avoided.
Yeah.
So maybe small.
It's not Game of Thrones level, so it doesn't really.
Definitely endured more there. But then number 2 for me is Back to the Future, and I believe Back to the Future is a perfect movie.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not alone in that thought, that thought process. So then for number 3 is Forrest Gump. Yeah. And I'd say Jurassic Park could be maybe top 10, top 15 as well. So big time win. The 4th movie, they got to throw in one for the ladies, and it's
Pretty Woman.
Pretty Woman. I was going to say, I Feel Pretty. Yep. Maybe because I just always
Richard
say that,
Gere and Julia Roberts, and really Julia Roberts kind of breakout.
Big time.
I think it was probably her breakout role, and
I think it was. Yeah,
she was amazing in that, and that was a great movie. I mean, even you know,
what's your dream?
What's your dream? Welcome to Hollywood. I mean, it's a great movie. It's got a great cast also. You know, Jason Alexander plays such a worm in that movie. You know, Richard Gere is really great. You know, who can't get behind a Disney-powered hooker with a heart of gold story? You know, I mean, that's a
lot of people don't know that's a Disney thing. So they knocked that one out of the park. So great lineup for season 2. If you remember, we've talked about season 1 a bit with our Die Hard episode. They had their own Die Hard episode. They had a great Ghostbusters one.
Ghostbusters is really good.
Maybe the best documentary episode I've ever watched, in the Home Alone one. That was great. And I haven't watched the Dirty Dancing one, but you have, and you liked it. Yeah,
it was really interesting to see how that one was made, because that one was made by a direct to video company, you know, and it should not have gotten made, you know, and really it just is through sheer willpower that they got who they got, you know, and the music was amazing. You know, the
Patrick Swayze, you know,
Patrick Swayze, Jennifer
Grey, charisma,
and how much they disliked each other, but you can't even tell. You know, the two of them, you know, they had starred together in Red Dawn, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. You know, they had starred in that together, and then they did this, and they did not like each other very much at all, but you cannot tell. Their chemistry on film is perfect. And,
great.
So really, and they also did a holiday one too. Holiday, I think they did Elf and Nightmare Before Christmas. So
I haven't watched those ones either, but looking forward to getting into those. But very excited to get more into season 2, because I already have watched Back to the Future, which was phenomenal, and just to see the story of how this perfect movie, the story of how it was made and how it came to be is incredible. And it's just always amazing to see these like giant movies that everybody knows, and the absolute hurdles that they had to jump over to get the movie made. You know, the most well-known story from it is the Eric Stoltz casting of Marty McFly, which a lot of people know. I knew it watching that. I didn't know how much they got. 6 weeks into filming, and I won't talk too much about the story, or give details, but 6 weeks of filming with Eric Stoltz before they finally were able to let him go and recast him with Michael J. Fox. But that was really cool to see get more story out of, and then just the entire, you know, how it started and how all the hurdles. It was incredible.
I think we should do a show. I mean, I think we've talked about it. Maybe we should do a whole show, like a whole, maybe now that we're done with the Loki review, maybe do another short episode, you know, on just Back to the Future and you know, that just the first movie. You know, I wouldn't say really the trilogy, but just the first movie. I enjoyed 2 and 3. Its own
little release like that for sure.
I enjoyed 2 and 3, but the first one is just. It's so good. It's so good.
And I rewatched 2 quite a bit. I mean, I rewatch 1 and 2 annually. I rarely watch the third one. It usually is years in between watches for that. So it's just, it doesn't have the magic. I'd like to know more about why, but
I can't remember. Yeah, I can't even remember I can't even tell you the last time I watched the third one, you know, like intentionally, like if it was on TV, maybe I watched it, but
it's your prisoner of war story.
Right.
Next. So check that. It's check it out. It's on Netflix. And just that entire, all episodes I've watched so far have been fantastic. So looking forward to more.
Yeah.
Next on the rundown, we got some MCU news. We have 2 shows premiering this year that I didn't think would: Hawkeye and Miss Marvel.
Yep.
Which is exciting to know that we get more MCU stuff this year. And then on top of the Hawkeye release, we don't know exactly when, but it'll be this year. On top of that release, it's being reported that Vincent D'Onofrio is returning as Wilson Fisk from the Daredevil TV show, which was on Netflix, and turning out to be a different universe. So spoiler alert for the end of Loki season 1.
Yeah,
the multiverse is created. And we have time codes, so skip ahead. But the multiverse is created at the end of season 1 of Loki, with just the most fantastic thing I've ever seen on screen. These universes, these timelines converging, and so we're going to get a lot of that clearly with Spider-Man No Way Home, with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, with Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, maybe even Thor Love and Thunder. But what that did is it set up the story of the MCU for the next 8 to 10 years at least, and if they wanted it to, maybe it's just phase 4, who knows. But very excited to see Vincent D'Onofrio return as Wilson Fisk, because he was phenomenal in that Daredevil show.
Amazing. Yep, amazing. I'm hoping, Vincent's always been one of my favorite actors, you know, going back to probably Full Metal Jacket, his original, his Private Pile, but he's one of the original guys to play Thor, if anybody remembers. Thor and the Adventures of Babysitting, which is a great movie. But I think the thing that got him on the map for me was Law and Order: Criminal Intent. I wasn't much of a Law and Order fan, but I think I caught one of those episodes like first season, and I was hooked on him, because he was just this super analytical, almost autistic savant type, kind of Sherlock Holmes-ish, but just amazing. I mean, just the guy does just amazing stuff, and he's the thought and care that he puts in. We had talked about this off air before about Men in Black, his role in Men in Black, and how he he inhabits. I mean, and let's be honest, it's Men in Black. It's not like we're talking, an Academy Award level film, but look at the level of detail that he puts into a particular character. So he's this alien occupying the body of this farmer, who's Edgar. Edgar, who by all intents and purposes sounds like a real dirtbag to begin with, and so, to see him
disappear in that role.
Yeah, to disappear really in that impressive role, and to watch him just like, he thought about, well, what would an alien inside a human body look like trying to walk like a regular person, because he's like,
he's very give me some sugar
around. So but that's the level of commitment you're going to get out of Vincent D'Onofrio, and you're going to get that level of performance out of him, no matter what.
He gained the weight to be Kingpin. I mean, and he was, man, he was so, that first season he was so good as the Kingpin, and his rise to being the Kingpin and then fall, and then in season 2 he was so good, even though he had a smaller role. That show was so good with Charlie Cox, and that's why they're bringing him back into the MCU. They're bringing now, it looks like, to be him as Kingpin back, and I really hope the third standout from that show, John Bernthal as Punisher, is brought back into the MCU as well, because those were 3 standouts from those shows.
They've got to find a way, especially the Daredevil. You know, honestly, that whole cast, they've got to find a way to get all 3 of those folks back from the original cast for that in some way, shape, or form, and get them in front of an audience, because they're really great. They're really great together, and you know, and to add in John Bernthal as the Punisher later on was just brilliant stroke. But I want to see more Daredevil. You know, I want to see more from those 3. So I'm hoping Kevin Feige and them figure out a way to do that, because I don't think that will go unrewarded by audiences. I think they would like to see that, and that sets it. You know, I don't know why Netflix didn't stick with it, you know. Well, I mean, I do know why, but you know, that's a perfect Disney Plus. You could plug them right into Disney Plus and keep on going, you know.
Oh yeah, big
the
time.
Punisher, I don't know. Punisher's maybe not so Disney Plus friendly.
They need to create like an adult section for
Disney
So very, very excited to see more Kingpin. He's usually more of a Spider-Man villain, but definitely a Daredevil villain, so to see him brought in on a Hawkeye show is interesting, and see, you know, if this is true, it'll be interesting.
And we're not even,
they bring him back.
We're not even talking about the hero Hawkeye, you know, and, and Jeremy Renner, and, you know, supposedly we're going to get more Hawkeyes, I guess, or whatever, you know.
We'll get a Kate Bishop, which is his apprentice, and she's being played by the great Haley Steinfeld. So you know, also, if you spoil alert for the mid-credit scene in Black Widow, it's about the only thing that really ties this thing to the MCU. But Yelena Belolov, meets Valentina. You know what I'm talking about.
Why not?
She meets Valentina from the Falcon and Winter Soldier show.
Oh, okay.
To put, you know, she's like, you want to go after the guy that was responsible for Black Widow's death, and she shows a picture of Hawkeye. So
interesting. Okay.
Yelena's character will be brought back for that show.
Gotcha.
So it's you know, people are like, a Hawkeye show, but man, they're bringing some heat for this if that's the case. So looking forward to that.
I love Jeremy Renner. I think he's great. He's brilliant in everything he does, at least that I've seen so far. So I'll watch it for sure. You know, I'll watch what he's got, and I'm looking forward to the Miss Marvel stuff. I'm looking forward to see where that goes. So
I'm not the biggest Kamala Khan fan, but clearly I'm going to have to watch that show, and nothing that the MCU has shown me yet should tell me that it's going to be nothing short of great. So I'll keep my expectations low, and I'll hold my hype for at minimum a trailer, and then once the show starts, you know, if I keep my expectations low, it's going to be good. So so looking forward to both these properties, and again, we get them this year, which is a big surprise. So with that's the rundown.
Well, wait a minute.
See, I'm glad you reminded me.
Yes. AFC Richmond, baby. Ted Lasso.
Season 2,
episode 1.
So
premiered this weekend. So
the thing about Ted Lasso this season is they're releasing them one a week, which is really sad, because 30 minutes of Ted Lasso is not enough for me. Right. So we're going to be waiting in this house for the full season to drop, or at least maybe half the season. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. But you, my friend, are going to be watching them week to week. So
I'll be watching week to week for sure. You know, because I fell into the same. Yeah, I fell into the same situation, you know, kind of as you did, where 30 minutes is not enough. But my dental hygienist turned me on to Ted Lasso last year. You know, we were going through COVID stuff, and you know, I'd gone in to get my teeth cleaned and stuff, and everything. And she and I are always talking about movies and TV shows. And I said, "What are you guys watching?" And she said, "Oh, we just got done watching Ted Lasso, and she's like, "You've got to watch this," and I respect her opinion pretty highly because we have kind of similar tastes in TV shows and stuff and everything. And so if she said it was good, I was like, okay, I'm in, you know. So yeah. I think I went home and got Apple Plus and watched it, you know, and I watched it all in one night. Like I turned it on at like 8 o'clock. I think I put the kids to bed at 8:30, and I started watching it at 9 o'clock. And I watched it till 2 o'clock in the morning. I watched the entire thing.
It's that good. It really is that good. So everybody who has watched it, I haven't met somebody who has watched it and disliked it. Yeah. So it's just one of those magical things that came along last year during the pandemic, and it made us all happier in a crazy time.
It came along at the perfect time. Yeah, perfect time. And
it's just so well written across like all emotional levels. You know, it's so good, so good. So
the honest trailer. Have you watched?
Hats off to you, Ted Lasso. Yes,
yeah. The honest trailer for it's really funny. So.
It is really funny. They haven't been as funny lately, but that one is pretty good. And it's kind of like the Winter Soldier one where they're like, we can't make fun of this because it's so good, you know.
It's really hard, yeah. So, they managed to dig some good stuff out of it, but
So whether you're one of those people that watches it on a weekly basis, like Eric, or if you're going to be like me and wait till the end, either way, enjoy this show because it deserves to be watched. And I do not like soccer, and soccer's not even the honest trailer says it. I think it's like there's no soccer, so
almost zero soccer in it.
Almost zero soccer, yeah. So it's great. So yeah, hats off to you, Ted Lasso.
Yep.
Congrats on season 2. All right, with that, let's pull up our game. We're gonna do a game called Guess the Movie from the Quote. Okay.
Okay.
So, Eric, pick a number between 1 and 50.
1 and 50, I will go with 44.
Okay. So, you're going to answer. So, click on the 50 to 41. You're going to ask me the questions from that section of questions. Okay?
Okay.
Pick a number between 50 and 100.
88.
I don't know why. I just thought that was so funny. But all right, I'm going to ask you the questions from 80 to, or 80. What is it? 90 to
71
81.
To 80.
Yeah, 71. Yep. No, you said 88.
I said 88. Yeah, you're right. So
yeah,
81 to 90.
81 to
Sorry.
90. No, it's okay.
I can't remember what I picked.
I can be very really easily confused. I can be very.
Oh, shiny red ball.
Exactly. Okay, so I'm going to ask you the first one. I'm going to say the quote. You got to guess the movie.
Okay.
We can give hints, pretty quick to keep the flow going.
Okay. I'm ready.
All right. Good luck with this one because it's very short.
Okay.
Okay. The quote is, "They're here." I don't even know if that's how she says it because I don't think I've ever seen this movie. I think she turns around.
Poltergeist.
Yes, good one.
And
I think she turns around and she goes, "They're here." Yeah.
I remember. Actually, that is the only bit from the trailer I remember for that entire movie, and it was terrifying. Like I was like, I'm not watching that movie. It looks good.
I'm not.
It's like a little girl.
Like Banana says, nope.
Yeah. Nope. Where's the ejection handle? Like it's like I'm out of here.
Yeah.
So, all right. So my turn.
Yep, your turn.
Okay. So my quote is, "I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way." And voiced by one of the sexiest voices of all time. And at one point in time,
it's
she was probably
Roger
one of the
Rabbit.
sexiest.
Roger Rabbit.
Yeah. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Kathleen Turner. Oh man.
Every boy had a crush on what's her name?
Jessica Rabbit.
Jessica Rabbit. Yeah. Oh man, she was hot.
She was super hot, and honestly, like if you go back to Romancing the Stone with her and Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord. Kathleen Turner was super hot. You look at Kathleen Turner now and you're like, oh.
You know what's funny is the first girl who played what Marty's girlfriend in Back to the Future.
What's
her name in the movie? It's Jennifer.
Oh, Jennifer. Yep.
The first girl who played Jennifer, I had a huge crush on it as a kid. Yeah. She's in the movies that made us.
Oh, nice.
Well, it's yeah, it's like who's that girl? It's like what's the girl's name from Top Gun now?
Oh, Kelly McGillis. Yeah.
It's not age well.
Yeah. It's like, hey, you should have backed off the cigarettes a long time ago. Okay,
yeah.
So
yes, that's exactly what it is. Okay, you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay. They call it a Royale with cheese.
Oh, Pulp Fiction, yeah.
Extra credit for what year is that released?
1994?
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, okay. Because that was the year I graduated from high school, and I thought that was when that happened. So that tells you what an ancient.
You're obviously so much older than me.
Obviously, it's the crow's feet and stuff, And I have that more aged voice, I guess, or whatever too.
Everybody loves your voice.
Thank you. So, all right. If you build it, he will come.
Field of Dreams, Kevin Costner.
Yes.
Some of these are going to be pretty easy, I think.
Yeah, there's a guaranteed choke you up. If there's a moment in that movie, doesn't matter how many times I've seen it, gets me every time. And there's like a handful of movies that I can watch that'll do that to me.
Yep.
But that scene at the end where he plays catch with his dad, and he asks his dad for a catch, I just
tear up every time.
Yep.
Lotion in the eyes. Yep.
Yeah. Get a little lotion in the eyes, maybe a little lump. There's a little lump that forms right here.
Yeah, I actually had one of those experiences this past week with the Karate Kid Part 2 when right after Miyagi's father passes away, and they're sitting in front of the ocean and they're just staring at the ocean, and the Pat Nuyarki never even moves, but his eyes are welled up the entire time, and it's about 10 seconds into the scene before they say anything, and it's one shot, and then Daniel gives this speech about how he felt guilty after his dad died because he felt like he wasn't a good enough son. And that whole scene is so good with the score, and so that scene that scene gets me every time. And so I'm sure there's other movies that do that, but that just happened this past week. So
I think I think sometimes you watch those movies and it strikes you, and even a movie like Karate Kid, which is not like, and even Field of Dreams is not necessarily an emotional, but there are bits in it that you're like, man, that it just hits you at the right, hits you right. And that's the beauty of movies, man. Is
exactly.
Beauty of movies is the emotion, and
that's why we love them.
Yeah.
It's why we love them.
Yep.
Okay, are you ready?
I am.
This is a good one. I'd be impressed if you get this.
Okay.
I'm just one stomach flu away from my goal weight.
Oh man,
two of my top 10 here in this scene.
That feels like a John Hughes line.
No,
it's not. Okay.
No.
Then maybe that's from. Is that from? Gosh, that's not Liv Tyler, but is that from one of the? You know what?
I feel like you're on the right path because I feel like Liv Tyler kind of looks like this girl. One of them. Anne Hathaway.
Oh, I don't know. Then, but then, well, now that you say Anne Hathaway, I'm thinking is The Devil Wears Prada. Is that?
Yes. Yep.
And it's probably Emily Blunt saying that to Anne Hathaway. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of my wives, Emily Blunt.
Her, Emily Blunt. You look at her in that movie, and then you see her, like, in A Quiet Place, and wow,
I know. Wow,
what an arc, what an arc that she has taken.
Seriously,
she's phenomenal. She's absolutely phenomenal. But yeah,
Emily Blunt, Zooey Deschanel, and I just totally blanked her name. Annie from Community.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yep. Yeah, they're all pretty good looking. Have you ever watched the same? John Krasinski's interview on Jimmy Fallon, where he talks about the customs guy in England?
Yeah. I think that's Graham Norton, isn't it? I think
is it on Graham Norton?
It's on Graham Norton.
Okay, so
and Emily Blunt's sitting right next to him.
Yeah. You married her.
Get out of here. And John Krasinski, the man, tells that story so well.
He does. He's so He's so humble, He's just so like, humble. You married her. It's like, hey, man. Sometimes you run into a good one. I don't know.
I know. God, I love that man.
Yeah, he's so good. Yep.
All right, what you got for me?
All right. So this one is, gosh, you've got kids, so you better have this one. So Just Keep Swimming. Oh,
well, is that Finding Dory or is that Finding Nemo?
In this particular case, you could probably go with
Finding Dory. I know it's an hour for sure.
You could go with either one, but initially it's Finding Nemo. So yeah.
Okay.
Well done. Bonus
I've
points.
Seen Finding Nemo maybe twice, and I've seen Finding Dory maybe 3,000 times because Penny got on a Dory kick for a while. I think that was even her 3rd birthday theme, and I felt like I could quote that movie from start to finish. Not anymore because it's been a few years, but now Joey's starting to get into it. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, mine watched Nemo a lot. We watched Dory when that came out. We watched a lot of Dory, but man, we watched a ton of Nemo. Because, Jackson was... when Jackson became old enough, it was a movie they both could watch and both be entertained by, rather than we watched a ton of Cinderella. I mean, and that's really that's
you
really
loved
cool
it.
Yeah, that's a really cool thing about.
Should we watch Cinderella again? Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because I'm the one that actually turned it on for her when she was little. I'm like, hey, let's watch Cinderella, and man, it was like that was on over and over and over again, and it just always struck me as so cool that I could turn on a movie that was made in like the 1920s, 1930s, and my kid in 2014, 2015, 16, something like that, is just as equally entertained, almost 100 years later.
Cinderella was made?
Cinderella, I believe. Yep. So
that seems old. Anyway, sorry, that just struck me as odd.
Yeah.
1920s. Anyway, yeah, kid movies. Penny's not this way very much anymore, where she gets on like certain kicks and she would just watch the crap out of them.
Right.
She switches it up now and has more variety in her diet, in her movie diet. I'm gonna say my line while you're looking that up.
Okay.
And so I know this is a tough one. I know this movie quote so well.
Sorry, on that one,
1950. Okay.
I think the one I'm thinking.
I was going to say Snow White was made.
Snow White. I'm thinking Snow White was 1937. Yep.
Did you hear my voice crack just now?
Yeah, I did not. So otherwise,
remember, you're very much older than me, and so I'm just kind of.
I would be beating you over the head with that. I would never let you.
Never let me down. This is going to be in our trailer number 2.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I've always, like I said, I know this movie quote so well, but I don't know I never knew what movie it was from. And so here we go. I'll be very impressed if you get the movie.
Okay.
Badges? We ain't got no badges. We don't.
Oh my gosh.
I don't have to show you any stinking badges.
That's, yeah. A movie that absolutely I would say after probably 1994 could never have been made. Never. Like, you would never have been able to make that movie after like 1990. So Mel Brooks is a genius, you know, and Blazing Saddles is probably just one of the greatest movies of all time. Although,
but this isn't from Blazing Saddles. Now this is where it gets kind of weird, because it says it's from The Treasure of Sierra Madre in 1948.
Okay.
And it says the misquote of the line, "We don't need no stinking badges."
Yeah.
Because remember, the movie quote is, "Badges? We ain't got no badges. We don't need no badges. I don't have to show you any stinking badges." And then so it says the misquoted line is, "We don't need no stinking badges," started with Mickey Dolenz in a 67 episode of the Monkees TV series. But Mel Brooks got it wrong too in 1974's Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles. Oh, okay. Then yeah, I would not have gotten that one. I don't think I've ever seen that Sierra Madre.
Yeah, but it clearly it's Blazing Saddles that made it.
Yeah, Blazing Saddles is the one that obviously the misquote. So
obviously.
Dang it.
What's your question for me?
All right.
Claim it down.
You are going to get this one because we just talked about it.
Okay.
Mama says, "Stupid is as stupid does."
Forrest Gump. We will have a Forrest Gump episode. I promise you that. All right,
those look like comfortable shoes. I bet you could walk around all day in shoes like those.
I will quote Forrest Gump until 2 in the morning. Don't quote. Stop. Move to the next thing. It was a beauty. It was a beauty killed the beast. It was beauty killed the beast. It was beauty killed the beast. That feels very wrong, but it was beauty killed the beast. Oh, it's a weird line.
It was beauty killed the beast. I don't know on that one. So I know
here's a hint.
I know it's beauty killed the beast. If anybody calls you beast, nope. I'll rip their tongue out.
Is that anybody? Wait, what is that from? Let me think on that one.
Yeah.
Let me give you a hint on this. It was made in 1933. Batman 89. Man.
Yeah, that's the other one. That's my quote on that one.
Believe me, last week I was killing myself over the Righteous Brothers. Oh man, that pissed me off.
Oh yeah.
The old podcast brain.
The love
I've been feeling.
Okay, so what's the quote again?
Quote is, "It was beauty killed the beast."
And the movie is from 1933.
Yeah, very, very, very famous movie. That was released.
Gone with the Wind, or Wizard of Oz.
Nope.
I don't know.
Wizard of Oz was 1938.
All right.
I only know that because I hate when people say, "Oh, you're too young to remember this," and I immediately say, "Oh, do you remember Wizard of Oz?" Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of the Oz.
Yeah, Wizard of Oz. And they say, "Yeah, how do you remember that if it happened, before you were born?"
Right.
Just shut up, people. Don't stop calling me young. Don't call me old. Just don't call me anything. Just call me late for dinner. All right, this one. This character was in a movie this year. Movie made in 1933.
Okay.
Was also a character in a movie this year that was a big movie. Big, very big. Very big. Very big character.
Very big character. I think that. Oh, Kong. Okay. Got it. All right.
I like this little excerpt. It says, when producer Marion C. Cooper pitched the role of Fay Wray, he told her, "You'll have the tallest, darkest leading man in Hollywood." Ray was sure she'd be acting with Cary Grant.
Yeah, not so much. No. Actually, that's a great that the special effects for that at the time were absolutely incredible, and I I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen the 1933 version, but it was great. It was really great. And
very well made movie from 1933.
Yep.
All right, what do you got?
Okay.
Am I getting an easy one?
Yeah. Well, like every one of them, I'm like, all right, come on, man. So, I'm the king of the world.
Titanic.
Yeah.
Can't wait to do a James Cameron episode.
Yeah. That'll be fun too. We should definitely do it. Coming off of our Michael Bay one, anybody who's interested in Michael Bay, the Nerd Explosions episode was really fun to do, to talk about that. So,
he's just so special to us, you know?
He really is. All
right. So, you ready?
All right. Yep, I'm ready.
I'm walking here.
That's is that De Niro in Taxi Driver?
No, but you're close in the sense that the era. Well, actually, not even the era. Really, it's way before that.
I guess Taxi Driver would be the. Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? That's the Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
I'm walking here. It's not De Niro. Is it Pacino?
No, but this picture looks like Pacino. So if you can think of another short actor who could possibly at times look like Pacino from back then.
Pesci?
No. Definitely.
Ray Liotta?
Definitely 247. Definitely 247.
Oh.
Although, this might be Pacino. I don't know. I've never seen this movie. Is Pacino?
Is it The Graduate?
No, it's Midnight Cowboy.
Oh. No, never saw it. Don't know.
It says Dustin Hoffman's line was ad-libbed and the scene was shot guerrilla style because they didn't have enough money to shut down a New York street. And that is, I mean, I thought Hoffman was a little younger than this, but I guess not. Also, I'm walking here.
Yeah.
You know what that's from? That's from Back to the Future 2?
Yeah, right.
Young Marty.
Right.
Yeah, is that his son? He almost gets hit by that car.
With the cracking voice that was really annoying.
Yeah,
They cracked his voice like way too much on that.
Yeah, way too much. All right, way too much. Okay, your turn.
All right, my turn. So
I think I got another easy one coming up. Because you have a hard one next. You have a hard one.
Shaken, not stirred.
I mean, which James Bond?
Pick extra points. Extra points. If you could tell me the movie, the first movie that appeared in.
Oh wow! I don't know that.
Yeah.
Because I don't really know the order of the movies anyway.
Okay.
I own all of them, but
yeah.
Which one was it?
Goldfinger.
Good one too. Okay. Yeah. Good to know, Bond nerds. We'll do a Bond movie, Bond show for sure.
It's coming up in October.
Yep. I think we'll do it right around that time.
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
I am.
These go to 11. Music movie. Again, I haven't seen this. It was released in the year I was born.
These go to 11. Is that Empire Records?
No, Empire Records is in the mid 90s or maybe early 90s. Okay. This is Spinal Tap.
Yeah, I never watched it. I mean, I'm familiar with it. I love all
Your
those
next
guys.
One, you shouldn't have picked such a high number.
I think I may have you on this one, but
okay, let's hear it.
All right, so but it's actually, if you're a Guns N' Roses fan, you'll know this one. What we've got here is a failure to communicate.
Yeah. Paul Newman.
You get what we got here last week, which is the way he wants it. Well, he gets it.
Paul Newman in...
Yes.
Why can't I think of the movie's name? It's Boss. Digging a hole, Boss.
Yep.
Why can't I think of the name? I know that movie now. You have to watch it in school.
Well, you used to. I doubt they make you watch it now.
Yeah, used to, I guess.
Politically.
Mike, what's it start with?
Cool.
Go ahead, Luke. God damn. Yep. Gosh darn. Sorry, Mom. Okay. You ready?
I am.
Fly through these last couple because I want to get to these nerd questions. But forget it. Jake, it's Chinatown.
Jake, it's Chinatown.
1974, if that gives you anything.
Is it Chinatown?
It is Chinatown.
With Jack Nicholson? I think Jack Nicholson in that, right?
Yeah, great job. Yeah. Roman Polanski, the
rapist himself. Yeah.
Rapist himself, yeah.
Sure, let's have relations with 13-year-old girls, drug them, and have. Why not? You know.
Your last two are good, so let's hear what these last two are for me.
I am big. It's the pictures that got small.
Say that again.
I am big. It's the pictures that got small.
I don't know. I
tried to deliver that with as much drama as I could, but actually I've never seen it, so I really have no idea how that line's delivered.
What's a hint?
Let's see, 1950.
Yep, forget about it.
Okay, it's Sunset Boulevard.
Yep, totally. You know what? I know. Tip of my tongue.
Yep.
Okay, ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Chewie, we're home.
Oh, God. Really? That's the episode. My understanding is that they made some other Star Wars movies after Return of the Jedi.
They definitely made 3.
Did they?
In the early 2000s, 99,
okay.
02,
Yeah, I saw those. Yeah, but they take place before the other ones. Yep. So.
And then I think they made some movies.
I heard that they made some newer ones, so it's probably in that 7th one. Yeah.
Do you know what it's called?
I don't want to talk about it. So.
Moving on. What do you got for me? Force Awakens, by the way. Yeah. Force Awakens.
You better. Yeah. Why'd you have to do that? Like, all right. Every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
Is that
funny story about that movie?
What's that Christmas movie?
Yep.
A Perfect Life? What?
Interesting bit of trivia about that one while you're chewing.
Am I close on it?
Yep, you are.
Okay. A Perfect Life.
The reason why that movie got so popular at Christmas time was because nobody had the rights to it. They forgot to renew the rights to it.
Really?
And so TV stations could play it at Christmas time without having to pay any royalties to anybody. And so it grew because it was not a very popular movie when it originally came out. But
wow. Interesting.
But yeah. Yep.
Perfect Life.
So it is it's
your last
wonderful
one?
It's a Wonderful Life from 19.
Oh yeah, It's a Wonderful Life.
Yep.
Synonyms.
Yep.
Okay. As if. God, I loved this movie as a kid because I was in love with her. Wait, are you actually struggling with this?
I am. I don't know. I've been beaten down. I've been beaten down to this point, trivia wise.
Okay, 1995. Does that help?
Oh, is this Alicia Silverstone's?
Yes. Yes.
And Paul Rudd.
What you are right now.
Our main man,
basically.
Paul Rudd.
Yeah, looks the same in this movie as he does today.
Yeah, it's a time machine. So,
if I didn't give you a hint for this, you would be hintless.
Would be clueless. I would be, wouldn't I? Yeah. All right.
All right. Last one.
Last one. If you get this one, I'll be
highly impressed. You'll love me.
Be very impressed.
I think I impressed you last week with Scream for Life.
You really did. You really did. I was really impressed with
that one. I was like pulling him right out of my ass.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right. So this one is keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
Hey, Godfather. 2? Part 2?
Yeah.
Part 2.
Well done. Well done.
I when you said it, I was like, oh, that's Godfather Part 2. And then as I was saying it, I'm like, no, is it Godfather 1? No, it's 2. It's got to be 2. Sorry,
I feel like I got the short end of the stick on that.
You for sure did. But
I mean, most of yours were from like the 90s.
I know. You had like the 50s and like really.
It was like 88, 89, 2003, 94, 97.
Yep.
The 1964 one and the 1967 one were both like gigantic movies that everybody sees.
Hey, 1933's King Kong's pretty big.
Yeah, well, that's true. But
okay, thank you, Eric. That was fun.
That was fun.
Always up for some movie quote trivia.
Yeah, that was great.
I think I won. I don't care if I had the easier.
No, you did. Yeah, you handily beat me at trivia.
And I didn't rig it. You.
No, you didn't. Yeah, right.
I don't know how I would have. Anyway, Nerd Box. My good friend lives next door to me, Brian Castile, sent in a wonderful question. I'm going to do his last. I'm going to start with Morgan's because it's a more simple question from a simple boy.
Sure.
Morgan Santo, who does such a fantastic job coming on our Loki reviews.
Yeah, he was great. He was really great. It was wonderful spending time with him, and we missed him already. So
well, don't miss him too hard because that asshole's in North Carolina on vacation right now. So
he is. I've seen the pictures, and it looks like a rough life. Yeah,
he's having a rough life for sure. But he writes in. Rumor has it that the Flash movie will reset the DCEU, which stands for DC Extended Universe, much like the MCU stands for Marvel Cinematic Universe, but DC wanted to be a little bit separate in their ways of doing things, even though they should be more like Marvel. So it's the DCEU, started with the Man of Steel movies, going through Batman v Superman, the Justice League, Aquaman, Wonder Woman series, Shazam, but now it's kind of going through maybe what we think is a soft reboot. So he says, do you think this is true? Or here, I'll start over. Rumor has it that the Flash movie will reset the DCEU. Do you think this is true? And is this a good move? Will it help fix their movie universe? Will they learn their mistakes and do it right this time? Let me know what you guys think. Thanks. Say that 10 times fast. Okay, great question, Morgan. So much like the multiverse of madness going on right now in the MCU, the DCEU will have some of that going on in this movie as the Flash movie is adapting the Flashpoint comic run, which is the comic run where the Flash goes back in time and he tries to save his mother, and it creates a ton of multiverses, and it goes through different multiverses. One where Batman's like kind of an anti-hero where he kills, and it's Thomas Wayne and not Bruce Wayne. Right. Really cool story. And at the end of it, it resets it and it brings it together 52 of the DC characters into one universe, and that's why they called it the New 52. So they're adapting that storyline into this movie, and they're using it as a launching point maybe for their new DCEU, as they are kind of moving away from what they've had before, is the whole fallout from the Justice League and Zack Snyder. So in this movie it will have Bruce Wayne Michael Keaton is Bruce Wayne from Batman 89 and Batman Returns in 1992. So right there it tells me, okay, they're bringing in the multiverse as well in this movie. That's confirmed. It's not even a rumor. And so Morgan says, do you think this is true? And so it's true. And is this a good move? If it's a move that brings back Michael Keaton as Batman, absolutely it's a good move.
Sure.
And they're moving away from the Snyderverse and making more of the DCEU. And, they'll bring in probably some of the Wonder Woman and Aquaman stuff going on right now, and Shazam and Black Adam.
Yeah.
And they'll move away. They'll probably connect it to Robert Pattinson's Batman movie.
Yeah.
And that'll be their Batman. And, they've got some definite Superman projects going on outside of Clark Kent, or maybe an African American Clark Kent, and
right.
even Michael B. Jordan has a HBO Max thing for Cal-Zod.
Right.
So there's some definite going ons in the DC extended universe right now. It seems like that's what it's all leading to. He says, will it help fix their movie universe? It's still Warner Brothers and DC. It's hard to trust them until they can have a more consistent track record.
Right.
He says, will they learn from their mistakes and do it right this time? Again, kind of, building off of the previous question. Hard to trust them. Be more consistent, and we'll trust that.
Yeah, I think results speak for themselves, up to this point. Which is sad because the Nolan trilogy was so good. The Nolan Batman trilogy, well, at least 2 out of 3 were so good. The third one was, but arguably, I think anything after The Dark Knight was going to be a disappointment, no matter what you put out there. Just because The Dark Knight, the
whole
was so
higher
great.
Scale. We talk about that a lot. That's a great point. I loved Batman Begins. I think actually Batman Begins is my favorite movie out of those.
I watch it all the time. I watch it way more than I watch The Dark Knight.
It's a lot more rewatchables. I feel like The Dark Knight. And I know I'm in the major minority on this.
Yeah.
It just, it doesn't, the third final act is a snooze fest for me. And once they get to the boats, and I'm like, anyway.
Sure. Yeah, I think we'll see what happens. I'm in agreement with you.
It's
I'm
the
in a
right
holding
move.
pattern. I'll see if it's the right move, if they put the right pieces in place and they're patient and not, the mid-level executives don't try and put their fingerprint on everything just so that they can make a name for themselves. You need to put the DC universe before yourselves, and I think that's what Kevin Feige and the rest of them have done at Marvel. Is they've always put Marvel and the characters first, and then done the other stuff in the background the way they're supposed to. So
and that's who we love. We love the characters,
right?
It's just so let the filmmakers make their film.
Yeah.
And that's when we'll start trusting you guys. So we'll see. So great question, Morgan. I'm excited for that. I was actually pleasantly surprised by Ezra Miller as Barry Allen in the Flash movie.
Yeah, I thought
or in the Justice League movie, in both versions. I thought it was a highlight of it. So I liked it. Okay.
Yeah, him and Cyborg both were, I thought, probably the best parts of those. So
Cyborg was a big surprise for me too. I really enjoyed his character.
At least in the Snyder cut.
At least
Schneider.
Okay, Brian. I talked to you about this weekend. I thanked you for this question because I love having fans of the show, nerds of the show, hold me accountable. And he's holding my feet to the Star Trek fire here. He writes in a two-parter, and I'll actually read your part first because I'll have you go first on your answer. He says,
sure.
This question is, here. He says, I have a two-part nerd question for you to address sometime. He says, Eric, a fun episode last week. I thought you did a great job of explaining how Star Trek can be enlightening and thought-provoking on modern topics. Thanks for representing the Trekkies. And then he says, question for you. Who are the most compelling heroes in the Star Trek franchise and why? Really sell it for that skeptic co-host of yours. He says, villains for extra credit. So give me who you think, Eric, is the best hero in the Star Trek universe.
The best hero in the Star Trek universe.
And why is it Simon Pegg? No,
maybe not my favorite character, but my favorite hero in the series is probably Jean-Luc Picard, from a hero perspective, because and it's not because he goes and kicks ass, or punches people in the face. He's a great leader, and he gets the most out of his loyalty to his people and his commitment to his principles, and his belief in the goodness of Starfleet and the mission of Starfleet. I think is what makes me love Picard the most. Now, is he my favorite character? No. I would have to say probably DeForest Kelley and even Carl Urban's Bones is probably my favorite character. I absolutely love the Bones character. And even DeForest Kelley's version of it was so great. But Carl Urban's, in that first Star Trek movie that he did with J.J. Abrams, where they get on the boat together and he says, my wife took everything in the divorce and all she left me was my bones, and so it's like, it's the way he says that, it's just like awesome,
and like, left then, me with my bones.
And then the whole situation where he just punishes Chris Pine's character, where he gives him that shot, and then he's like, can't feel my tongue, and like all this different stuff, and he just beats him to death, with all the different stuff. So
I like when he goes up to Spock and he's like, "Are you out of your fucking mind?"
Right? Yeah, So and the two of them always had such great banter back and forth, and even going back to the original series and then the original cast movies, that cold, emotionless Spock versus the hot-blooded Dr. McCoy. You always have these two sides of the same coin, and Shatner's Kirk and even Chris Pine's Kirk is stuck in between these two polar opposites, and he has to navigate, just like the rest of us have to navigate, this. Yeah. You can't live with cold, emotionless life, but you also can't be this hot-blooded, crazy person as well. And so, and I got to go back to the whole Star Trek, the Next Generation. That was my favorite series. I loved that series. But every one of them, I think, does a really good job of showing the fact that the Enterprise itself, is a character in these shows. And the reason why the ship is a character is it takes an entire crew of people to make that ship do what you need it to do. And this is true for life, not just Star Trek. Nobody gets anywhere just by themselves. They have to have a crew of people around them, and each person has to do their job. And if they don't do their job, then the machine doesn't do what it needs to do. So I think that's the great part of Star Trek, is it shows the qualities and the importance of everybody and the roles that they play in life, and so that's my thought on Star Trek. So and I could talk more and more of the philosophy of Star Trek. I love it, but it's your turn, bro. I am. When I saw this tweet come in, I talked to you about it, and I was like, holy smokes, dude, you're being challenged. I mean, really challenged. And I thought it was a great question, and it's
very great. Very.
So.
And fair, because from Brian's perspective, he listens to the podcast and he's like, wow, why the hell would Darren not like Star Trek? And
right.
So Brian says, I want you to explain on air why you don't like Star Trek. Which shows have you watched and why didn't you like them? Okay, I'm going to use a good old coaching method called the poop sandwich. You start with a positive, you give a couple observations or points of just a couple good points, and then you end with a positive. So first positive is it addresses part of what Brian asked, is what shows have you watched? So I haven't watched shows, but my only good exposure to Star Trek is the Chris Pine movies. The J.J. Abrams movies are fantastic, and I've watched the first two. I really love the first one. The second one I don't think as good, but they really tried to adapt the Wrath of Khan story, and I don't think that should have been maybe just leave that great movie alone. I haven't seen Wrath of Khan, the original, but agreed. Know that it's a huge movie in the nerd world. Yeah. Anyway, so I really, really enjoy those movies. And Abrams, when he made those movies, he made Star Trek more appealable to, is that even a word? They wanted to make it appeal to a wider audience, and I think they did that clearly with me liking those Star Trek movies and not really ever being able to get into those. It's just not, they did their job. So getting into why I don't like Star Trek is mainly because my first early on exposure of it was some of the really weird 60s and 70s Star Trek, where I'm watching like Captain Kirk fight an alien on like a moon or something, and it's the worst fight I've ever seen on TV. And so when that's your first exposure and you're not getting the full context of it, you're like, this thing sucks. And so then I become a Star Wars fan for, this is really my second point, is I become a Star Wars fan, and much like Marvel versus DC has a hidden rivalry, or at least within the fans, Star Wars and Star Trek have always been like two sides of a magnet going up against each other and not quite connecting. And, there's some Venn diagram fans like yourself, Eric, that like both. And there's probably tons of them. So it's probably the majority is they like both. And then there's some like me where it's just, I'm just a Star Wars guy. And growing up, I was on the Star Wars side. My friends and I thought Star Wars was the greatest thing. And we... if you thought Star Wars was the greatest thing, Star Trek had to be on the other side of that spectrum for some reason. And, a lot of that plays into, the kind of the central theme of the podcast that we've started is, everybody can be a nerd in their own way. And, we want to stand up for that in a way that embraces every kind of nerd culture. Yeah. And what I've been able to do in, later on in my maturity, which is not very far from me as a kid not liking Star Trek, but as an adult, I've been able to really have some appreciation for Trekkies and their passion for Star Trek, and I commend all of what they come together and are as a nerd group. Yeah. And so my hat's off to all the Trekkies out there for really sticking through some weird stuff early on, and apparently a bad first movie with a great 2 through 4, and then some clunkers after that. And it's just some, in my mind, not so great shows, but there's some really good stuff in the Abrams stuff. So it what that did is it opened the door for me to Star Trek and have a new appreciation for it. And I think my distaste is really just it's an old stereotypical distaste for Star Trek, and one I probably should try to grow out of at some point, but I'm almost too old for that, and I'm just I'm just gonna keep laughing at you Trekkies. But no, I'm joking.
Well, if you want to ease into one of the best Star Trek movies that's not a Star Trek movie is Galaxy Quest, and I know we've talked about it before.
You have tried to get me to watch that movie so many times.
You really should watch Galaxy Quest because it's really an homage and a love letter to Star Trek, and a lot of people in the Trek community consider it to be a Trek in the Trek canon, because it really is. Because exactly
Tim Allen and Alan Rickman, right?
Yeah, and Alan Rickman is Alan Rickman in it. I mean, he's peak Alan Rickman in that movie, and he's just wonderful. I mean, absolutely wonderful. And
maybe someday.
I think. I
wonder
maybe
if Brian, I want to know if Brian's watched that show, by the way. So if he,
whether he watched
that
Galaxy
movie,
Quest,
and what
he should have watched Galaxy Quest. And if he hasn't watched the documentary, I'll see if I can find the name of it. But there's a documentary that they did about it, and it's really, really great. But I think the Galaxy Quest stuff kind of. I don't know if you really pay attention to it, you understand that the reason why Trek was the terrible fight, was that this was a super low budget TV show from 1966, and it was they did the best they could with the budget they had. And I mean, we're talking cardboard boxes here, and light switches and stuff. So it was really bad.
It's a testament to that, how successful that show was at that time. So I'll tell a quick.
But it only lasted 3 seasons. It only lasted 3 seasons, and they tried to kill it twice, and it just never died. I mean, that's the thing with Star Trek, is it's really resilient. It never dies. And
tell me about it. No, I'm joking.
It's like communism or Marxism. No matter how many times it fails, we're gonna bring it back up again. Hey, you killed millions of people. Well, it's all right. They weren't real Marxists, so
that's not the good kind of communism.
That's not the real Marxism.
So a quick funny story about the rivalry of Star Wars versus Star Trek, and it comes from Conan O'Brien. And what's that puppet?
In the year 2000.
The dog puppet. What's the dog puppet?
Triumph
the dog. He goes to a Star Wars premiere. He goes to a Star Wars premiere, and he brings a Spock lookalike. It's one Spock versus like all these Darth Vaders and Jedis, and they all have lightsabers, and the Spock just stands there and he's just flipping them all off. and all the Star Wars are like, boo, And so I think that was around either episode 1 or episode 2 release that Conan did that. And Conan's a nerd himself, who old Conan is so good, and the way he made Triumph the dog famous, and he goes to that Star Wars convention. It's a funny video. If you've never seen it, I'll have to send it to you to watch.
Definitely.
It's pretty funny. And with that, enough Star Trek talk. Time to wrap this thing up before I fall asleep over here. No, I'm joking. I really appreciate that question, Brian. Please try to keep me accountable to what I say on this show, because I'm not just blowing smoke up everybody's rear end on that. But I really appreciate the accountability. So thank you very much. Great questions, both Morg and Bryant, and looking forward to seeing some of the responses to that from you guys. So I mean, real quick,
just real fast, I think that's the whole premise to this podcast, is that there's a nerd, everybody's a nerd about something, and everybody's welcome here, and maybe you may get a little ribbing, you may get ribbed about this, you may get ribbed about that, but it's all in good jest, and it's all in good fun, because we're all family, I mean, we're all one big nerd pot, and
absolutely.
And so,
a good analogy is I will give people in the Navy shit all day long, or the Air Force or the Marines. I'll give them shit all day long, but if somebody else who wasn't in the military gives them shit, I will light them up as much as with a flashlight. I'll just flash the light at them. But
of course,
it's that kind of thing where it's like, we'll give you Star Trek guys some ribbing, but we will stand up for you in the end. And whatever nerd you are, we're here for you. So come on down to the rundown and join this party. So great episode, Eric. Looking forward to getting this out to the fans or the nerds out there. And looking forward to next week. I got something special planned. I got a few special episodes coming up that everybody's gonna love. So looking forward to it. Watch Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso, baby.
Let me know what you think of it, Eric. I'd like to at least know if it's up to season 1 standard.
I will. I'll keep you in the loop. So,
all right.
All
right, buddy. Well, thank you very much for your, I was going to say comfort, but I meant company, but also thank you for your comfort.
I am comforting. You're a
big pillow. All right. With that said, thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week on the Nerd Rundown.
See ya. Bye.